Hi, everyone. All right, we are about to do our last summary lecture for this unit on film techniques or whatever I called it. And today we're going to be talking about sound. I hope to keep this lecture a tad shorter than the other ones. However, don't be fooled because you also have some supplemental videos, of course, and they're really good. So I tried to put a lot of questions from the quiz from those videos this week. One of them is, well, I'll talk about it in a second. Um, so anyway, sound editing is a thing. We talked about editing in the last unit, right? We were talking about editing in terms of like chopping up the footage and putting images together. But of course, if you're going to chop up the images, you have to worry about the sound too, and you want to make sure that the sound goes with the images. Or occasionally that maybe sound from one image kind of goes into another, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, and most films use what's called this dual system recording in order to accomplish this, right? It's not like a lot of what you're hearing is not that, right? For instance, when the actors are talking and being filmed, normally that's not the sound that you hear. The sound is usually being recorded separately, and then it's sort of like it's taken apart and then put back together again, so that the sound editors can do things that they want with it, and it'll help them sound better and things like that. Um, I like it to capture and isolate the dialogue, and then it's got to be resynchronized. The people who do this are called Foley artists. Like it's a whole like name, you know. So they are the ones who are just really trying to ensure, remember that word continuity, right? That everything sort of like people's mouths move like with the sounds that are coming out of it. And they also do editing transitions, sound transitions. So just like there are image transitions for, we like dissolve, right? Where it's like, oh, I could do one for this video where it's just sort of like I dissolve to black, and then you're into another scene. Well, sound editing also has its own strategies too, and these are things that help create meaning, like different. Well, I mean, the term sound bridge, right? It bridges one visual scene with another, and that can be done with sound alone. And there's two different ways of doing this. If you want to watch this video for examples, by all means, be my guest. I'll post these PowerPoints to eCampus so you can click on the links if you want, but I'll just try to explain it as best as possible. You can do a J cut or an L cut. And what this is it depends on how, like this is a picture of what it looks like when you're editing sound. So this is all of the sound, and these are all like the little sound waves if you want. I don't know. What do you want? I'm a communication professor. I don't know. So, but you can slice this up, right? And you can move. So if the video's up here, see video one and video two, and then you see there's sound that goes with the blue, and then there's sound that goes with the pink. Well, look, you can see here, there must be some sound bridge here because it's sort of overlapping into this video too, right? Well, there's different ways of doing this. In this case, it's an L cut because see, it looks like an L. There's a carryover effect. So an L cut is where the sound from one scene keeps going into the other scene. It's as if like they don't want you to forget this last scene. Or, I mean, I don't know. It could have lots of different effects. A J cut is the opposite. A J cut is, which you can picture it, it goes the other way. Get it? um, is where the sound starts coming in before you even see what's coming. It's almost like you could call it sort of like a foreshadowing technique. So those are just two different types of specific sound bridges, and I do think they have similar but perhaps different effects on how we interpret the different sound. Um, so yes, okay. Now, sound and music are not always the same thing, although obviously music is a type of sound. I want you to understand a few different type of oh, and you know what? I'm so bummed. I think I actually I I wanted to whatever, it doesn't matter. I wanted to do this, switch my slides, and I forgot. So remember how there was practical lighting and then there was like the 3-point lighting and stuff like that? Music is the same way. Like sometimes music is a part of the scene. It's like part of the narrative. So if that's what's called diegetic. So if everybody in Jaws is at the beach and they can hear, I don't know, I'm making this up, the Beach Boys on their radio, and you can hear the Beach Boys on their radio. That's diegetic. And, it plays into the narrative in a very different way because it's something that you can hear and the characters can hear. But non-diegetic music is dun dun because honestly, if the characters could hear the shark music, then it would be a very different type of, oh, there goes the cuckoo clock. Then it would be a very different type of shark movie. Do you get what I'm saying? In fact, it's like, oh, that shark wouldn't have much success at all because of all that diegetic shark music. But no, non-diegetic is stuff that only the audience can hear, which again does it makes it kind of creepier in the context of suspense because the audience is somehow aware they're getting all these, sound cues that the characters don't. And so it's like, don't go in there, Um, anyway, all of this stuff, of course, communicates to the audience. It sets a tone. Sometimes it works with what's going on in the screen. I mean, a famous sort of, sorry to keep making it about horror. I'm really not like a huge horror film, but music has been such a influence, it is such an important part of the genre. The classic rah, 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 in Hitchcock's Psycho. That is, you don't even see her getting slashed. You only hear that music and it's edited to see blood, in the shower, but there's actually nothing really gruesome about it. It's really the music that kind of makes that scene horrific. Um, but I need you to understand this difference because this is actually kind of like a pet peeve when you're writing. Um, a musical score is like the stuff that's composed. It is usually orchestral music that is made for the music. So I have this example now. What's the Titanic music? I mean, I know it's related to Celine Dion. That's part of my point, but na, 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 na. Okay, but if it's a bunch of violins and was it Danny Elfman? I can't remember who did the score, but wait, does it say down there? Music composed and conducted by, oh, James Horner, my bad. Oh gosh. Now I feel so embarrassed for myself. Yeah, so he composed this whole score, and then it just so happens that Celine Dion also, sang this very famous song that people associate with Titanic, and that could also be part of the score. But the soundtrack is, but I don't think it was actually. Was it? The soundtrack is all the music. So the soundtrack would be you know, whatever the Beach Boys. I'm sure the Beach Boys were not in Jaws. The Beach Boys released a new single that might not have even been in, the film, or maybe it was in the film and maybe they were listening to it on the beach or whatever. But so the score can be part of the soundtrack, but if you say the soundtrack, it is different than the score. And I do want you to be specific about sort of like what kind of music you're talking about. Should you want to talk about this in any of your stuff? Um, Okay, and the only other, I think this is the last thing. Yes, see, I told you it was going to be a little faster. Um, this I'm like hitting my scenes because I like it so much. This video that I'm having you watch on the invisible horror of The Shining is amazing because what he's going to show you is how when they were working on that score, they matched up the score, and I'm not talking about just like J cuts and L cuts and everything. The score maps on to the dialogue of the characters in a way that is um eerie, not in like a haunted, creepy way, but eerie in a how perfect it is way. Like if you want to really appreciate how brilliant sound design can be, I'm excited for you to see that video. The other interesting thing about the Shining is they use a lot of Mickey Mousing. So Mickey Mousing is a technique where basically music comes in at the same time that some sort of like physical element happens in the film. So if I slap somebody as an actress, if I slap somebody and at the same time there's like you know a strum on the guitar, that would be Mickey Mousing because it's like the music is syncing with whatever action is going on. And they call it Mickey Mousing because it's what cartoons do a lot. And one of the things I think is funny about it, and this will be brought up in the thing too, is like, uh, The Shining is very cartoonish. The acting is kind of cartoonish. There's cartoons on Danny's wall, and he's wearing Mickey Mouse um, a sweater. And actually, I read somewhere that even Wendy seems to be dressed like Goofy, which I know Goofy, yeah, the Disney character, which I know you think is kind of a stretch, but just do a deeper dive and you'll be like, oh, maybe not. So the idea that Kubrick would be also sort of utilizing more cartoonish like sound strategies along with all of these other sort of cartoonish elements, I think is really interesting. And I would like you to think about like, why is that? Like, why in this horror movie would there be so much Mickey Mousing and other cartoonish elements? Um, and then the other thing, just a little plug, because I didn't really bring it in, but I'll just if you really want to appreciate Foley artists and like what they do, the other video that I've assigned to you, which is about sound design in Fight Club, is really, really interesting. It sounds like the funnest job in the world. I mean, except for mine, of course. I'm just having a blast. But I hope you really enjoy the videos. They're awesome. Okay, that's all I got. Congratulations on finishing your first week. Okay, bye.